I got it. It worked. How shall I listen? I don't know what to do. What's going on? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Oh my God, what's wrong? All right, I got it.
Welcome to Film in Minnesota. I'm your host, Alan Tracy.
I'm Rahana Power.
And welcome, everyone, to our end of year, beginning of the year podcast. Season 7 premiere.
Season 6 conclusion.
Mm-hmm. A
Absolutely.
2-in-1. 2 for 1.
We're here to double up and give as much content as possible.
Super
much information. Yes.
A bundle deal.
There's actually a ton that, like, between everything that's happened this year, not only with like us, but within film, with like the legislative moves this year, with the podcast, but also like so much that we're really excited about for next year.
Yeah.
Excited to implement, kick into gear, go to the next level. But kind of going in order of the time. Alan, I feel like you were so busy this year doing like all of the things, whether it's, film wise or personally, like what you had going on in life. So like, let's dive into that first.
Yeah.
What were all the things?
Oh boy, it starts off almost immediately with Scream It Off Screen, like the first Friday of January. And that was for the film The Sound of Winter, the only film with subtitles at that time. We'll revisit that in September. But yeah, because it was in French, and Elizabeth Eftelin, who we've had on the podcast, had spoken about that film.
And so did Quentin when we had him on.
Yes.
Which was last year, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had a interesting little... we did not get screamed off. It was close. It came to a stand-up vote sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Counts.
At the time, only film with subtitles.
Again. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, you were a first. That's awesome.
Well, no, I mean at that screening. I don't know if there were others
at that screening. Okay.
that may have had.
Got it. You know what? We're just going to say there weren't. You're the first. And in my world, your film was the first one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, before we get too far into the year, I just have to mention Rahana stepped away from the mic earlier, and when she is doing something, she kind of does this interesting little hum, like song, it's not even, or something. Yeah,
I Jessica Day it, and I realized that like earlier this year, somebody called me out on it because I do it at work too. If I'm like looking for something on my computer or whatever, I'll like sing whatever I'm doing. Or like my thoughts out loud.
Yeah.
Instead of saying them. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Same very much Jessica
Day. Sure. I don't know who that is again, but yeah.
What? Dude, New Girl. I thought you've seen it.
I assumed that's what it was, but yeah, you said Jessica Day, and I'm like, her name's Jess. And like,
oh, yeah. It's Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. But anyways, yes, didn't get screamed off.
Which is great.
Yeah, that was interesting. I sat next to Kyle Thornton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had a proposal for them to come to something, and I don't know what happened there exactly, but yeah. He kind of organized the gatherings that are held kind of once about every month, maybe. Movie maker meetings sort of thing, so which are really good, another networking opportunity for people, and I think it's a good thing because I've noticed a lot more productions have been stepping up this year, right, which we'll get to later probably. So How about you? What else do we have in January here, Rahana?
Oh God. I mean, for me, so like I feel like I didn't do much. But I mean, there are things, but like in January, I mean, you and I went to see Taylor Tomlinson, who's one of our
Yeah.
faves. And it was the weekend of your birthday, I believe.
Yeah.
It wasn't your
Hmm.
actual birthday. Yeah. And so that was pretty sweet. It was
Yeah.
really fun. We had really good seats. Um,
Yes.
yeah, we had been kind of tracking that she was coming for a long time. And so when we got tickets, it was awesome.
I'm so glad people canceled on you so I could snag a ticket.
Heck yeah. I
It's
know. And
like,
honestly, I like got extra tickets because I was like, I think that these people would go, but even if they can't, like I know people, Alan.
mhm.
I was like, and I mean she's hilarious, so somebody's gonna go. And yeah, I was very excited that you were able to go because we had been talking about it forever.
Right.
It was
Uh,
awesome.
wow. Yeah, it kicked off quite a year of comedy for me, which we'll touch on as we go.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I know you've had one of those big years before. What was your big year? Like, who was on your, like,
Oh my
what
God.
type of year? Who were your comics you saw in that year? Like one
There was
year.
there was one year that we saw Aziz Ansari, Jim Gaffigan, um, Bill Burr,
Ooh.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Uh huh.
There was another one in that same year, and I can't think. Mike Birbiglia. No, not Mike Birbiglia. Shoot, I can't remember. But yeah, so like we saw a lot of big name, big ticket
Yeah.
comedians that I'd really wanted to see, and they just happened to all come, and it kind of fell in line so that it wasn't things didn't overlap. Like there's been a lot of that for both of us this year, which was really
Hmm.
disappointing.
Yes.
And so
God.
it just worked out really well that year for me. But honestly, every year that's kind of like concerts are great, and I'll go to a couple. Jer mostly buys the tickets for those, honestly, because stand up is where it's at for me.
Hmm.
I will pay ridiculous money for some solid stand up.
And they're not like crazy expensive, like
Yeah.
say another concert we'll talk about later. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
I
yeah.
mean, I've been itching to go to a concert, but then it's this year has kind of been like, oh, they were in town. Why am I not getting the
Yeah.
notifications for these? It's like,
Right? I know. There's so many who I was like, wait a second, I didn't realize that they were even going to be here, let alone that
yeah,
it's already passed.
right,
So trying to like keep an eye on like maybe next year, but who knows?
right,
There's probably a good comedian in town the same day.
yeah. And then obviously, like with Taylor Tomlinson, obviously a huge. Well, now I consider her a very huge
Oh
comedian.
yeah. Yes.
And was she in consideration for a late night thing
She
now?
got it.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the show, I think it's James Corden's old show.
Okay, yeah,
I
because
think.
he's leaving, right?
Yeah. And so Stephen Colbert is officially like producing it or owning it. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's his show. And so he selected her to be the host. So
Will
she's
it be
hosting
in LA still? The Late Late Show?
that's information I don't have.
I don't know. Well,
That's
it'll
a very
probably
good
be out by
question,
the
though.
time this thing comes out. But yeah, okay.
I would think so, yeah.
And then, oh yeah, and we found out Mike Dreams had passed away in January. Our first project we
Yeah.
worked on together, a music
Yeah.
video.
It's a music video. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
And the artist, yeah, passed away this year tragically,
yeah.
which is really unfortunate. He was awesome.
Yeah, Songs on the Radio was the music video.
Yeah.
Still on Colliding Pictures' YouTube.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we found out about it later, but yeah, it was just one of those things. It's like, I didn't realize.
Out of nowhere. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, so sad.
Hmm. And then into February, this is where, well, a majority of Alan's year would begin.
Yes.
A fan film called Kyber Run, a Star Wars fan film. So
Yes.
yeah, we've had 2-ish, well, 1.5 episodes on that already. And there will be more. So, and
Yes.
several guests who have been on that production.
And that was a
'Cause-
long time coming.
Yes.
Like, you
So
had
this is
been-
February. I texted Lee because the way it started was just a real quick backstory. Krista and Lee and I shot like some test footage in October of the previous year, 2022. And then that's where this whole thing got started. And then by February, it's like, okay, we want to make this for the summer. Can you start gathering people? And we started a group on Facebook and started creating Kyber Run. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you had been talking about wanting to do a fan film and trying to make sure you picked the right thing and like what you really wanted to do for a long time. So it was really exciting that it was like, it became a reality.
Right. Yeah. And I did want something much more simple, as you'll hear in that episode. But it was only until March. My first day on like training day was March 6th. I have here. So yeah, that was that was where my day
really
one was.
Cool. Yeah.
And then what was I doing previous? Oh yeah, it was, I guess Dana versus Judy was already in for Z-Fest here.
Yeah.
But first in March, I had 2 other comedians I saw. Sarah Silverman.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. She's definitely was like a number 1 on the hit list for me. Like I had to see her. And then her whole set was basically like she was practicing for warming up for her special, which came out like in May for HBO
Oh, I don't
Max.
remember that. Oh, HBO Max. Okay.
Yeah, or Max now. Yeah.
Nice.
And that whole thing where they're changing it to Max. So I was
honestly,
confused.
it's like Twitter changing to X. It's still Twitter. Like it's still HBO. I understand what they're trying to do, but they're wrong. So
yeah. And the controls for it are ridiculous. It's just like, who came up with this? Like a 2-year-old? And it's like,
right?
Play. It's like there's no.
It's not.
I don't know. Anyways. But yes, Sarah Silverman. And then I did see Kelsey Cook.
Which is another one of our favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw that she was opening for Taylor one night.
It was the night before we went, which was such a bummer. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I get to see 2 for 1. And then, nope, it wasn't her.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
It was Dustin, right? Nickerson?
Yeah. I mean, Dustin was also, so he was traveling with her and as an opener. So she basically had 2 openers the night that Kelsey was there, which is really cool. Because he's still traveling, like he's still touring with her.
Right. That's good. Yeah. And it's her best friend, as she said. So
exactly. Which
is always great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to see 2 fun shows in March, which was really nice. And that's a nice thing about comedy shows. They're not like, well, not all concerts, but not like the bigger concerts that are like ridiculously priced, you know?
Yes.
And those, well, obviously we saw Taylor over at Orpheum. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Which is a really nice theater. I like the Orpheum.
It was super nice.
Yeah. The State Theater is where Sarah was, which is, I don't like their seats. Yeah. It's a little, it's like the second of the 3 kind of, then Pantages is right there.
Yeah.
And then Kelsey Cook I saw at Acme. So that was nice.
I haven't been to Acme in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't been over there in a while, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is how it is, kind of, okay. I like it. It's a good place for comedy.
Absolutely.
And then we're into April.
Yeah. Man. You had a busy April, too.
Yeah. Up Top Party, that was just kind of like a get-together and just film folk. And I know they had a lot of the filmmaker events also. This is with Kyle and such. So he was trying to invite Scream It Off Screen hosts to come to that, or people who are interested in film or filmmakers. So that's just another networking spot or thing you can find on Facebook.
Mhm.
Minnesota Movie Makers or something, I think it is. But yeah, it's really nice that there are more events like that happening.
There really are. And you've been doing an awesome job at trying to like hit as many of those as like you can, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
because it's nice to see, keep your ear to the ground to see who's working on what and
Yeah.
who might be on the podcast in the future. So
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Oh yeah, and then of course, Z Fest. That's when Z Fest was.
Do
So
fast.
Dana versus Judy got its premiere.
Yes. Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's it's something to see it like. I still have a perfectionist mindset, so I can spot all the problems with what happened in the showing. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking the sound isn't right, or why is it so dim? Like something's not right here, you know?
Right.
And it's because it's a projection, it's not a screen, you know. So it's
Right.
those are two different formats, and I think it looked fine. It just was the sound. Some
Yeah.
parts of the sound I wasn't happy with. At least it wasn't like there were some films at Z-Fest that were a little like blown out in the sound in some of them, and I was just oh my god.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah. And some are really good, and I'm like, how are they like where's the right spot for all this? You know, like how do I need a theater to screen stuff in if I'm gonna show it in an actual theater.
Right.
So,
yes.
or a home theater system.
Or that. I mean, can't turn that down.
Yeah. So yeah, it was sold out for both screenings.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Z-Fest in general sells out pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think only Friday and Sunday were not sold out.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, but Saturday was stacked. It was like 4 or 5 blocks all in one day, which is kind of economical if you buy the large popcorn.
Right. Oh, God, no kidding. You just make a day of it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, just full shift at the Imagine Theater there. But yeah, a lot of fight films, actually. I was kind of like, wow, okay, a lot of people had like stunt fighting going on.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people are really into right now. They're just like really interested in because it's really fun to do if you can do it right. And there's, I mean, some really good like stunt choreographers and like fight choreographers in the cities, like Lee. And so being able to have a good contact that you know is going to be a good person to have on set, keep things safe, make sure things look realistic. And from the actor's perspective, I know that doing those roles in films, super, super fun. So yeah, why not? Have a good time with it.
Yeah. And they'll likely get work if any stunt work comes to town for these bigger projects.
Yeah, exactly.
These are resume creators getting on set and doing the work, and then you graduate to the next level because you have experience in whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like stunts or hopefully sound. Like that's I just want to get a good sound project out there. That's what I'm after. That's what I'm trying to chase down. Like, what's the magic formula here?
Right. No kidding.
But yeah, everyone seemed to like it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was a good moment to have a premiere in a big theater. So
yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal. So yeah, it was really fun. I got to pre-screen it.
Yes. And
perks of being the co-host.
Yeah. Inviting friends and like obviously Gael and Callan were there.
Yep.
And Mick, who they worked on wardrobe and so many other things. It's just being a PA, helping with craft service. So and Jennifer was there. Prettyman. Yeah, so just
we also had on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been, yeah, it's great when you can get as many people there from your production to see the film in a big theater like
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
Hopefully it landed well. So
I think so. But
then the next day it snowed, and
of course.
we went back into Kyber Run training, and we took some fun videos outside of them just playing with their lightsabers.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
which is awesome.
Yeah. What else do you have going on in April?
I didn't do a whole lot. The only couple things that I really remember doing are we had Twins home opener. Woo! And then the Wolves were in the playing game. So we actually got to go to both of those, which is really
All right.
cool. Yeah.
That's right.
Because baseball's my jam. And basketball is Jared's jam. And so we got to hit up both of them, and it was really, really fun. Yeah. But I mean, that was my April. That and work. So nothing crazy.
Work is nonstop. Yep.
Work, yeah. Work basically fills every moment outside of the things that we're talking about.
Right.
But
Yeah. I definitely was going for more of a work-life balance here, but
yeah. And I feel like you nailed it. You really did, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know winters are more commonly inside, so you're less likely to be
Right.
out doing things.
Exactly.
Um,
But you went to like an art show in April,
Yep. It was pancakes
Yeah.
and booze at the Caboose.
which is awesome.
Also, yeah, that filmmaker event again.
Yeah.
Saw Flamin' Hot at the
Woo!
Minneapolis International Film Festival.
Yes.
We had Jesse Bishop on talking about that.
Yep. And Alejandro.
Yes.
Yep.
Airhead
Which is really
Alejandro.
cool.
Yeah, again, not expecting to see him.
Yeah.
I think I recall seeing like photos of him or photos of like Eva Longoria,
Yep.
and I was just like, oh, okay, interesting. Does he like that or something? It's like,
Right.
was he
Yeah.
on the production crew or what? And then he's in the film.
He's
I'm like,
in it. Yeah.
and they say his name. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
So cool.
Yeah. Then we head into May.
And I mean, I can't imagine you had, anything with Kyber Run going on in May.
No. Oh, we kind of glossed over it here from March and April. So while this is all going on, leading into May, we had the tax incentive,
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
all the not like, what do you call it? Legislative.
Yeah. Like the prep for the hearing and like
Yeah, the
all that.
hearings.
Yeah.
And then before the budget would be assembled, because we're pushing for a more robust incentive to
Yeah.
attract bigger productions to the state. So yeah, that I remember sitting in with Justin Jones at my first hearing for that, like early morning. It was just like, oh my God. And then like they were done presenting something, I remember, and this was like to one of the I think it was the House member, and they're not really a fan of film legislate. They think money can be spent elsewhere, but I think they kind of came around, but it was
Yeah.
just more about how it's run, and a lot of people
Yeah.
like myself don't know how it's run, I guess, because we're sitting in there like an audience listening
Yeah.
to them talk about how good like the film incentive would be for the state to bring in cash flow, because it means more
Yeah.
for businesses, more money generated.
Yeah. Like the
And-
economy boost.
Yeah, and we've talked about that at nauseum,
Yep.
and we all start like clapping and everything, and then I just remember looking over at Melody, and she's like doing the cut it sign, like, no,
Oh,
don't
funny.
like that's not how it's done here. Like it's not like a rally. It's
Yeah.
it's just more of a showing support, a show of
Yeah.
support. which is
Well,
strange because how do you know they're there for that? It's like,
right, because there's a lot being discussed.
yeah. Well, I
But
guess we overpacked. Yeah, we filled up that whole side. There was apparently a whole nother
yeah,
side we could have sat in, but yeah, that
that's okay.
was not common for. Well, it is common for certain causes for people to show up,
Right, but
but
not a lot.
yeah, they probably
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that for film for their first hearing because there were two hearings and then
Yep.
like the main one, and
That just means that they really don't know about the community here. So they should probably be listening to this.
yeah,
And hopefully that showed them that Minnesota's not just like some little, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a state that it would be weird to film in.
Idaho or something. I don't know.
Idaho. We're
Yeah.
not Idaho. Come on. We're Minnesota. But yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, good hearing the stories of like what the numbers were in the hearing, like how much it impacted a small business like a hardware store or
Yep.
up north, especially ones that may had to
Yeah.
have closed down after the pandemic or was on the verge of closing or hotels selling out or hotels selling out and such. So it's just like
Yeah.
that kept them open for another year or something just from that one project or something. It was just like those stories don't really make it to
Yeah.
the news or something. So
Yeah. The effect it can have is huge.
yeah, and then so in May the incentive was passed.
Yeah.
Governor Walz signed the full budget, and the film tax credit was part of that. Why don't you tell us what that is, the incentive?
Oh man. Okay. So just going to kind of walk through it. Like projects are able to, they can qualify by expending at least $1 million, but they have to do it in a consecutive 12-month period. Our annual funding was increased to, it was just under $25 million per year. And unused funds remain available for up to 4 future program years, which is good. And we got authorization to extend up through December 31st of 2030, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's good.
That's good to have a much longer time with it. We
Yes.
would hope to have that removed or at least extended way beyond that point
Yes.
at some point, but we have
Which
to show the
we've talked
money.
about, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that honestly, it's doable. Like as soon as projects start coming here, I think that the results are going to speak for themselves on
Yeah.
what that's going to do to put Minnesota in the spotlight or like bring light to us and like the economy boost, like what you were just saying. And so it's just we just have to wait for that. And then I think that support is going to be there.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of
Yeah.
exciting stuff there. And that budget went into effect in July, I
Yeah.
believe, of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just the beginning of
Yes.
this new incentive, and if that money carries over, then that's even more money available to
Right.
apply towards these like 10 million plus productions. And quite frankly, they're a lot bigger when it comes to like
Yes.
Disney conglomerates and
Yeah.
Warner
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the money, it's interesting because when we talked about like streaming services, like they all have, and the whole strike situation earlier this year,
Yeah.
because this is around when the writer strike
Or
started.
last year, but yeah.
And the writer strike started in
Yeah.
April
Yeah.
of 2023. But this, yeah, that kind of says like now people are being paid more, and then same with,
Right.
well, yeah, all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. But we're putting ourselves out there. So I'm excited to see the results like start to show up.
Yeah. I also saw Samantha Bee
Woo,
in May.
yeah. How was that?
That was interesting. It felt like her show before it was canceled, and she talked about that.
I've never I've never seen her show. I really
Yeah,
need to.
Full Frontal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh, it was really actually more informative about like a sex ed class, basically.
Oh,
Like
that's awesome.
about like everything from like birth control to
Yep.
menopause to like just the life cycle of a woman.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like no one knew that. Like I was there with Callan and Jen, who were from also in the Kyber Run production, and we're just like,
hmm
wow, she said a lot of things I didn't know. Is kind of an educational talk too.
I mean, you can't turn that down.
Right. So now I know more.
Yeah.
I also saw Elizabeth Eftelin's play by Mindy Kaling.
Which is cool.
She played Matt
Yep.
Damon's character.
I like it.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice gender reversal of Matt
hmm
Damon and Ben Affleck coming up with um, what
Good
was
Will
her
Hunting.
film? Yeah, Good Will
Yeah.
Hunting. Yep.
Yep. Which is awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's just as you'd expect from Mindy Kaling.
I mean, yeah, she's hilarious, so that makes sense.
So June, we're into June, halfway through the
June.
year.
I know, right?
You go.
So I had a couple things happen in June. One is I got to go see Colin Jost again. So he was here a few years ago on my birthday, which was really cool. And then he came again last year on my birthday, which was super dope. So yeah, we got to go to that.
Oh.
I love Colin Jost. It, and he's like my SNL crush. So, yeah, it was very exciting. And it was cool because he had, oh gosh, I think there were like three or four, were there four openers? All
Oh, wow.
from SNL in some way, like
Oh,
a writer,
really?
a couple of performers. Yeah. So it was
Okay.
really cool. And then uh we so Jared and I have been wanting to adopt a dog forever. Like I've been looking for about a year. I had like 6 or 7 different rescue sites up on my phone, and I was like refreshing and looking and all
Oh,
this kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because at the time where we lived, we couldn't have one, but we moved here, got through the winter, and then in spring we started looking again. And then in June we found a pup the beginning of June, adopted him. We were in love. And it turned out to be just a horrible fit for him.
Mm.
He is not an inside dog, which we didn't know. The fosters didn't know because they had a giant yard, and so there was no behavior issue to indicate that it would be a problem.
Right.
And after having him, it became apparent that that was going to be a deal breaker. Like he was a different dog when he was inside. He was depressed. He was upset. There was just a lot of issues. So we made the really, really difficult choice to refoster him, and let the agency know about all the things so they could get him into the right kind of environment. So that took place over like the entire month of, well, like 3 weeks in June. It was really, really hard. So June was actually a really tough month. Went through a range of emotions from being thrilled and falling in love with this little pupper to having to decide that what's best for him is to not be here.
Mm.
So it was a tough month.
Yeah.
But update on that for next month anyway. So
Yeah. And you moved to a place that had dogs or can
Yeah.
have dogs, so that's
yes,
good.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
You had a lot that went on.
Yeah, so June, some of these are stacked very tightly. So beginning of June, there's Minnesota Con, just to set this up. This is a brand new convention that started this year. I really wanted to go because it had, a Star Trek fellow in there
Yeah.
from the Next Generation.
Which was awesome seeing that picture.
Yeah.
He was like my favorite. So,
Jonathan Frakes, number one.
yep.
So to set this up though, so I could only attend that Sunday, like the last day of the con. But that Saturday I had a wedding, which actually was very interesting because they had like a drag show for the cocktail hour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is unique. I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
So it was just very fun and, yeah, such a nice moment for that. Just kind of a
Yeah.
very inclusive thing. And then that night I went to their, like, somehow they had like this connection to have, it was called a rave, but it was not really a rave, but at First Avenue. So it was like an after party to the convention for convention goers, but
Yeah.
they had a
so
cosplay
cool.
competition, things like that, and obviously music
Wow.
playing for dancing all night and all
Right.
that. And it was a lot of fun. So it was nice
That's
to,
so cool.
yeah. And my, yeah, so it was, yeah, one of my friends who was also Nikki, who was on Kyber Run, was there. She's a cosplayer, which we'll have to maybe talk to her eventually here. But
Yeah. That would be really cool.
yeah, we'll talk about that more about cosplay. Put a pin in cosplayers for later.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. Then I went to the con. So that was my first convention ever to go to.
Yeah. So having been there, are you a fan like of the environment? Like want to go again
Oh yeah, I liked
whenever you
it
can? Yeah.
because it was actually, especially on Sunday, I guess. Maybe it was different the other days, but it was very low key and pretty chill and just kind of like, oh, okay. They're like, I seeing all the celebrities that are like, oh, they're right there, you know. It's
Yeah.
just, and it's not like a busy day or anything. It's just like,
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was definitely a good introduction to the whole experience. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Let's see. Kyber Run training kind of intensified a bit more, like 2 a week. That was happening all through May and June. Oh, I missed location scouting in May. We went to Stillwater. We were hoping to get the cave there, but
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
But yeah.
little more red tape there, and hard to secure the permits in time. So I opted to look for more locations, which led to more location scouting through June and July while even in production.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and then the big thing.
Which I forgot about, so I will also touch on this.
Okay,
but
I'll
you
set it up.
first. Yeah, because
So
you started it.
yeah, I got to work on this production at US Bank Stadium called the Eras Tour. I don't know what that is. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's weird. I wonder what that
but you
that's
know,
about.
a job's a job,
right?
and I work once a year for them. So
Not a bad event to work.
yeah. So I constructed the whole left side of the stage with the carpenters, putting together the stage, the center piano lift, and all the barricades around like the full left side.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the stage,
Yep.
and then also a little like trade secret under the stage part that was interesting. I can't. I don't want to burn bridges, so I won't say what it was.
Right. Yeah. No,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to see kind of the whole making of this huge Eras stage. And when I first got there in the morning, they had like, I counted, it was like 14 semis parked in the stadium unloading stuff.
I believe it.
It was just like,
I mean,
how do they get these trucks in here, first of all?
That's
And
okay,
all
yeah.
lined up perfectly.
Right?
Like, I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? And then it's like this mad dash of everyone just go over there, help them unload, go unload everything. It's like we're all lined up to help unload stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, it was a huge set, so I can imagine
Hmm.
it would take, about that many semis and like a ton of people to
Yeah.
do it all. So it's so cool that you got to work on that and like really see the behind the scenes of how that all goes together. And yeah.
Yeah.
Were you part of taking it down too?
I could have been, but I decided not to.
Yeah.
Like, I was really sore after the first day.
I don't
was-
blame you.
Because it was the day before the first concert. And
Yes. Yep.
yeah, I was just like, ooh, it's good to get a workout in, but my God.
Yeah.
Because we're
That's a
lifting all
lot.
these stage parts like over our
Yeah.
heads and stuff. And it's just like,
Oof.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't construct any of the stage or setup, but I did get to go to the concert.
Oh, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Minus the purchase cost. But yeah.
Honestly, we somehow got an amazing deal. So like we missed out on the fact that the tickets sold out in 5 minutes during pre-sale or whatever. But because my friends have, it's one of those where like I don't think it was this exactly, but like because they had like if you have a Capital One card or something, you can get put on the list for like different like lottery things, or like you can get whatever. And it was something kind of like that where they got an email and it was like, hey, because you're part of this, we have so many tickets available. So if you submit, you can get up to 2 each.
Yeah.
So if you submit how many you would be interested in getting and what your max price would be, if there are any available, once we get down to like your names or something, we will present you with the offer and you have like 24 hours to buy or something like that. And they got them. And so we got 4 tickets. So those 2, and then me and Jared got to go. And our seats were just a couple of rows apart. And luckily the people who were sitting next to them were totally nice and like up for swapping seats with me and Jer. So we could they could move forward a couple rows and we could, sit by them. And it was, oh my God, easily the best concert I have ever experienced in my entire life by miles. Like I saw the movie when it came out and I still had chills. And I will be buying it when it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that because that was one thing that I didn't get to see the show. I got to put it together, but it's like, how does this all work? Like for the show and like things you see. And then it's just like I see like confetti coming out of parts of the stage from the previous show and, stuff like that. And it's just like, how do they do this exactly? Are they gonna...
It's so cool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how did the movie line up with how the show actually ran, or is it shorter, like condensed?
I mean, it was a little bit shorter. They didn't include, I think, 4 of the songs or something, although one of them is during the credits. And then so the transitions between each era, they shortened that obviously because they didn't have to wait for her to like get changed really quick and get the setup all changed. So they shortened it, and it's really cool because they still show like the screen and the stage and stuff as it's transitioning, but then it actually pops up with Reputation or Lover or whatever that era is, because some of them were kind of tough to tell. And so that was really cool too in the movie. And the start of the movie is actually exactly what the start of the show is. So it like ends up being this like clock, this timer that comes up and counts down. And it gave me immediate chills in the actual like concert. And again, it was very exciting in the theater too. So yeah, it was excellent. And I will say, I was not a fan of Taylor Swift until December of last year when her new album came out. Like I didn't like Taylor Swift at all. I listened to the new album because my sister sent me one of the songs and was like, I think you'd like it. I listened to it. I was like, oh, this is good. So then I listened to the album. Within 1 month, she, like when Spotify does the Wrapped or whatever, she was my top artist and like 3 of my top songs listened to in the year in just 1 month.
Oh, wow.
And so getting to go to that, it was 2 days after my birthday, I believe.
Would you get a free trial or something? What happened there? I'm just kidding.
Right? Yeah, no kidding.
How was she number one after a month for you? This feels rigged.
I'm telling you,
they made
I
you a
listened to
Swiftie.
her so much, so much. But it was only that album. And
Okay.
then we were getting close to the concert and everybody's like, you have to listen to these other albums. Like you have to listen to her other music. And so I was like, all right, I'll listen to some. Like, so I listened to a handful of her other albums. I don't like her first like 2 because
Right.
I don't like country.
Too country, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in on all of them. I love them.
Okay. So you're a Swiftie.
I am a full-blown obsessed Swiftie now.
Did you get a good merch? What did you get? Did you get anything fun?
I didn't at the concert because the lines were so long and I didn't want to miss any of the concert.
I see.
But I did go online because they had everything available online. And I got a couple shirts and a sweatshirt after. So
Gotcha. Okay.
totally worth it. I think about going back on her website and getting more all the time, but it's unnecessary. But yeah, so it's not like, up until the concert, I loved one of her albums and I had only loved it for 6 months or whatever. So, I mean, it's not.
So you're a new Swiftie in that sense.
Swiftie. And I'm still telling you.
And you got to ride that wave.
Yeah, best concert of my life. I do not foresee another concert topping it unless I got to see like Beyonce or Adele. But even those, I don't know if they would actually top it, just based on everything that she did. She's an amazing performer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of shows she's done already.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And then just like her whole battle with the was it Big Red Machine or something? One of that.
Yep.
With the rights to her music, and then
and so all the Taylor's versions coming out.
Yeah, just all the it's very interesting. And I obviously another comedian I'll get to here follows her religiously.
Yep.
Which is like, oh my God, we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, what an event to go to. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was all over the news here locally, and just talking about like what kind of a concert it was, and I could tell by putting together the stage, just like this isn't like a normal stage. This is like an epic stage. So
I mean, they literally had it constructed so that it could represent in different ways all of her albums, like all each era. And I mean, it spans like 17 years of music. So there's a lot of changes and she did it really well. It was really cool. And something that I thought was awesome is, so the concert itself, by like, I think it was like October or something, had pushed her into officially being a billionaire.
Right.
Like, and so it completely boomed the economy wherever it went. Like it was amazing.
Right.
But then with the movie, I mean, that was during the strike, during both strikes, I think. And the fact that like I mean, there were so many like Christopher Nolan and James Gunn and like all these different like directors and filmmakers and all this who came out and they were like, she just showed up all of the studios and said, fuck you to them. And she made millions and millions and millions of dollars doing it because she didn't have to go through them.
Right.
And so when there's nothing else to watch right now, and because they're trying to crush everyone, she was like, too bad. And then Beyonce went and did the same thing. And it was just
Nice.
amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that that was really, really cool too. Um,
Yeah. So summer is in full bloom, and the Eras Tour just
yeah.
comes through with a blaze. Um, and then I also, during June, decided to step away from fantasy football, retire.
Yeah. Which that's a bold move, man. I mean, that's because it's kind of a
Well,
lifestyle for like 4 months out of the year, 5 months out of the year. Numbers are hard.
yeah.
So making the decision to be like, no, I'm good is, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
decision.
I mean, I kind of went out as high as I could go, like at
Yeah.
losing in the Super Bowl, but, still at the Super
Right.
Bowl for our league.
Yeah.
So kind of on top almost, but
Yeah.
ultimately, yeah, just decided, especially after the year already, it was
Right.
like, I don't have time.
That's understandable.
And I really want to do a lot of other things with my time.
Yeah.
So,
No, absolutely.
yeah, and my interest in general fantasy or football in general is kind of went way down also
Yeah.
as a result.
Yeah.
But
Which makes sense. Yeah.
but curiously enough, I obviously with the Twins, I had more of an interest in baseball. So
Yep.
um,
Also makes sense.
yeah, and then we're into July.
And you had a solidly busy July.
Yeah, I like how
It
it
was
says
packed.
like I had location scouting again
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, the cave didn't come through, and then it was
Yeah.
like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were gathering wardrobe and all the last kind of. Oh, I was writing every week between scenes because you never know what you're going to get from week to week in a production.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so we know we have these like fights figured out for these. Like Lee was helping me trying to construct all the training footage in the group and
Yep.
trying to remind people what. And again, we're doing every Sunday and Wednesdays. Lee is hosting the trainings.
Which was amazing of him.
Yes, it's just like I could tell he obviously wanted this to be as good as he could possibly make it, and with whoever
sure.
shows up.
Right.
And yeah, we're doing 2 a week. Like Wednesday was like a half training day, sort of, and then Sunday is like as much time as we can get
Yep.
it in, and then yeah, we're full into production on the July 9th. We're going to have to do a separate episode about the whole production because it's just there's
Yeah.
so many things that happen. But
Mm-hmm.
from July 9th through to August 7th, it was like Sunday and Monday production, and then
Yep.
go back to work, and then also, or while you're working on a Monday, plus go to the next shoot
Yeah.
after work, and then write out what you need to go back to training on Wednesdays because we were still doing Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Oh, and then yeah, you were on there, and Jamie was there the same day. I made it
Yeah.
work out, so you were both there.
Which was so exciting. Got to see
Yeah.
Jamie. Oh, that made me so happy.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I was happy you guys got to see each other. So
Yeah. It's
and
been too long.
yeah, and now she's in New York, so it's just like
New York.
yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
who have since moved away. So
Yeah. Nope. But
but
yeah,
yeah,
that-
Kyber. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was really cool being on set, and getting to really like see how everything was coming to be. Because I knew that you guys had been training for so long, and there were just so many moving parts. So it was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, there's like 20 plus actors. It was just like, and then
Mhm.
trying to figure out wardrobe for 20 plus people, and then all their additional characters they play, and just
Yeah.
a production basically. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
limited crew, because I mean
Yeah.
everyone's producing over the summer. Everyone's doing something,
Yep.
and they can choose where to spend their time.
Exactly.
And that's the same with actors. Like I had to balance all these schedules also.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
when are it was in June. I need final availabilities by like the last week of June to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, that's how I could assemble any amount of the crew. So like Chica was in Japan for most
Yeah.
of the summer, and then like just other productions like Holly was on and that we talked about with her, and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just it was
Yeah, like everybody had multiple things going on at the exact same time.
right.
It
And you
was just
don't
crazy.
know. It's like, is it going to be a super hot day? Is it going to be like one of
Right.
those things where we get rained out? We did on
Mm-hmm.
one kind of day, limiting a lot of what we could do.
Yeah.
So yeah, some scenes had to either be limited or reduced in the amount of takes we could do. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and especially when you have a scene, there is this one scene that just has a ton of actors in one scene,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
is this gonna work?
It's a lot to juggle and make sure that you can get what you need from all vantage points
Yeah, and make a
in
story
that
out of it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. But I think you did a good job.
yeah, I hope so too. I'm excited to see kind of the first rough cut. It's
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, it's like, oof, not even halfway through the rough cut. So,
Yeah.
which is good because it means there are a lot of takes for each scene that makes it, you have to choose what takes to go
Yeah.
with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but oh my god, the VFX is going to be crazy. I
But
have to
it's
figure
gonna
out how
look
to.
so cool.
I have to figure out how to make it work efficiently, like super
Right.
efficiently. Otherwise, it's going to take forever to get done.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That makes
so
sense.
yeah, we had to add on a little overtime, one extra day because we got rained out. And luckily,
Yep.
the location did allow us to come back without having
Which is
to
nice.
pay additional anything
Right.
for it, which is always tricky because it was good that location, one of the people was kind of was like a sci-fi geek like us and
Oh, nice.
was cool with it.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like, oh, thank God.
I like it.
And
Yeah.
understanding and all that. Yeah, so
No kidding. Because not everybody would be.
right, and this production all started prior to the strike, so we were good
Yep.
to go on that.
Yeah.
So, and not that we're working for the studio or anything, but
Still.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's July going into August.
Yeah. July for me, so in June, we got Roy. It didn't work out. We were heartbroken. It was really rough. That went over, I think it was a couple weeks maybe. I don't even remember anymore. It had to have been. So we took a week. I started looking again because I desperately wanted a dog. Jer was a lot more cautious, and found one, and were able to go and visit him like immediately. Fell in love immediately. And the foster was amazing, sending us videos and pictures, answering all the questions and all the things. As soon as we left, we met him and we were there for like an hour plus because he was like laying on us and all this stuff. It was really cute. When we left, we're on our way home and she sent a picture. He was just watching out the window looking for us. It's like,
Aw.
oh, my heart just broke. So we talked about it for a few days. And I was like, I want this dog. Like, I know that we're cautious and I know that we're like really afraid after what happened with Roy, but like, I think that this is going to be what we thought that was going to be. And so we went for it and we adopted him. His name is Granger and we've had him since. And he's the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And oh my God, like being a dog mom. It's funny because it actually made me realize, because I've never been sure about kids, and it made me realize that I don't actually want kids.
Hmm.
I just want a dog. Like I want him.
Yeah.
Like, and that it's just like the completeness that made me feel was amazing.
Right.
So yeah, and he's the cutest little goofiest guy. So
Hmm.
it had a happy ending. It was really rough for a while.
Right.
With Roy, and I think the hardest part about it was even not knowing, like, one, worrying about, you know, making him feel abandoned again. Um, that broke our hearts. But then on top of it, like, not actually knowing what happened to him. Like, where did he end up? Like, when he got adopted, is he in a good spot? Is he okay? All of that. And that's what I think I especially struggle with even now, like thinking about it. But we're really happy with Granger. He's really happy. It's amazing. The light of my life at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
Meow.
my July. Meow.
Meow. That's what I have to say. Meow.
Yeah. But yeah, so then moving into August, I didn't have anything in August. I mean, I went to the cabin, but that's, cabin, that's whatever. What did you do?
Oh, didn't you have one more thing in July?
Oh, snap, I did. I'm so obsessed with Granger, I forgot. We got to go to the Incubus concert. We went, so in St. Cloud, they have a new like amphitheater. And they were there, which seems weird to me that they were in St. Cloud, but whatever. So we went. It's actually a really cool venue. Um, really, really cool. And even though it was like 1 billion degrees out and we were right in the sun, it was really cool. And it was really funny because we got there for the openers, one of whom was just horrible. Oh my God, it killed me inside. But another one, I was like, man, she looks familiar. And then she said her name, and I was like, oh shit, I can't believe it. And Jared's like, I mentioned that this was who she was, and Jared was like, wait, what? He had no idea. It was Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I didn't know that she performed. I didn't know anything. She's definitely like a Cali girl at this point, but an LA girl. But yeah, so that was interesting, to say the least. So, but yeah, that was my July. But yeah, August, you had some stuff.
Well, yeah. I went to the Twins Star Wars night at Target Field, drone show, all that. Got my R2D2 hoodie. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Also went to the Museum of Illusions at the Mall of America. It's like on the north
What
end.
is that?
It's like on the north end of the mall, second floor. Museum of Illusions. It's like basically it's a great place to get your Instagram pictures of like all these interesting things, like a lot of mirrors, a lot of smoke and mirrors sort of things.
Okay.
So there was this one like bridge thing that had like this thing that goes around it, kind of like a funhouse thing. But it was like it made me quite dizzy. I was like, holy shit, things are moving. It's like
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that they must have like a camera in there because they like stopped it.
Yeah. Oh,
So
really?
I was like, whoa,
Funny.
the room is spinning. Alan is literally
I
flying.
suppose they probably have to like keep an eye on that.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense.
But I liked it. It was just kind of like, it was disorienting in that little thing. But yeah,
But very cool.
right. Tapped into that side of the brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then, yeah, that was kind of my main part of the August. Obviously, finishing up Kyber Run.
Yep.
Just taking a break from all film things for a while there just because it was exhausting. I mean,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you balance a full-time job plus pretty almost a full-time production,
Yeah.
it's very taxing. And I even some of our other people were obviously working on other projects too. So that was just like, holy crap, man. Everyone else, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean-
Everyone had a busy summer. I'll say that.
Yeah. Like it's fun and it's the dream, like it's the passion, but it can be exhausting
Yeah.
because you do have to have that day job. And so it's just double everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make the money to make the films, as
Yeah.
Callan had mentioned before
Yeah.
on her episode. Um,
And then you just dove right back into film stuff in September.
yeah. September, there was the Mixer panel that I moderated. Apparently it went
Which
over
was
well.
so cool. So tell us about that. Like,
Yeah, so that panel was on the first day, I think it was.
mhm.
And that panel was all about filming up north, what's going on up north.
Mhm.
So kind of like what we do here, just, asking questions to the panel, and
Yeah.
in that we threw it to the audience. So for any questions. So yeah, people
Nice.
seem to be well entertained with it. So
It's good. And exciting. That's really cool.
yeah. Yeah, so there was that. And Scream It Off Screen again in September.
Round 2.
Round 2 for Dana versus Judy.
Whew.
This was a little strange. So you remember January, there was subtitles in my
Yeah.
film only. And then Dana versus Judy doesn't have subtitles. So
Mhm.
when I submitted it, there was an option for subtitles. I didn't check that box or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I guess not. And then as the screenings were progressing through the evening, I noticed they all have captions. And I'm like, was this a
Really?
requirement or something? And
Right.
apparently it was.
What?
Yeah. So we weren't screamed off screen, but we were disqualified because it didn't have captions.
Why would they not specify that?
Right. I mean, I didn't check the box that said captions, but I'm glad it's screened, but it's just kind of like,
Yeah. Like, don't have that be an option if it's a requirement,
Yeah.
you know?
But, it's just kind of like, okay, that's their rules now, I guess. When in January, it wasn't.
Right.
Which is funny. That's kind of an interesting twist there, between the two.
It's very interesting.
And I know it's because it may be to accommodate, obviously, more accessibility, but
for sure.
But also, like, since their audiences are a little, what's a word for it? Fresh, I don't know, something. They're drunk. They can get drunk.
Yeah.
Or they can get, loud.
Hammered. Yeah.
You can, especially as the evening goes on.
Right.
You can see, like, just kind of like maybe you can't hear it, or maybe
that makes sense.
Maybe it's to accommodate for that. So I have.
It might be. Yeah.
I don't know why they enforce that rule now, but
yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, not screamed off, but DQ'd due to technicality.
That sucks though. Right. But not screamed off, which means it played well.
Yeah.
And that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had my big month of comedy.
Yeah, you did. My gosh.
But
I mean, okay, so I'm actually going to go first because I saw one of the shows that you saw.
Talk about September for you first, though.
Oh, September was low. I went to Dallas with my sister for a couple days. And honestly, it might have been the most relaxing 2 days of my entire life. I genuinely didn't actually know that I could be that level of relaxed. I just didn't think that it existed for me. And so it was so lovely. She had to be there for a conference, or not a conference, like an educational course or whatever. She's a dentist. So there's more that she's learning as she wants to bring new things into the practice. And so I went with her, and basically we hung out after and like went and got food and whatever, walked around the city. But while she was there, I hung out in the hotel and just read I went down to the hotel lobby. I bought snacks and wine, came back up, ate my snacks, drank my wine, read my book. My God, the most relaxed I've ever been. I'm a very slow reader. It's actually not a New Year's resolution, but like Sarah and I have a competition for reading this year because I want to read more. I'm just really slow and I don't do it even though I want to. And I went through a pretty good size book, within those 2 days. Because I was just like, that's all I did. I just fucking laid in bed and read the book.
Why were you in Dallas again?
Because my sister she had like that educational course thing, and she was like, do you want to come with? And I was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Okay, so you were tagging along. Okay,
yeah, I was just tagging along. I was like, why not? I don't have anything going on these 2 days, and that sounds lovely.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, I went. She had planned it like a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, like I don't even think that I had Granger at the time. Like it
oh
was
right.
that early, so I was like, yeah, why not? So did that. Got to go to a couple different games in September. Preseason Wild game. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The A's versus the Twins, which is always my favorite
oh, you did get to
baseball
go to that.
game, at least of the year. Yeah. It was pretty sweet. Jared got decent tickets, like really good tickets. Got to be on the A's side, cheer them on. They lost really bad, which was fine. It was really, really, really fun. So that was my September. My October was much calmer than yours as well. Although I got to go to the Niners Vikings game, which is, the equivalent for football.
Yeah.
Also very
wow.
fun. They also lost, and it was disappointing because they shouldn't have. They were in no way expected to lose. The Niners, I mean. It was such an unfortunate situation. Anyway, but it was very, very fun. And I actually got to sit next to other Niners fans. There were a lot of Niners fans there, but especially in our section. So that was pretty cool. But then got to go to a comedy show as well. See Chad Daniels and Kelsey Cook together.
Mm-hmm.
And we went together. You and Jer went, which was awesome. And it was so cool because it wasn't just like them doing stand up. It was them kind of hosting a few other people doing stand up that were really good. But then, they also did like kind of a back and forth stand up sort of, together afterwards, which was, the whole thing was hilarious. Everyone was hilarious. But like Kelsey Cook is one of my favorites, obviously one of our favorites. Chad Daniels is one of mine and Jared's favorites and someone we have been wanting to see for years. So the opportunity to actually get to see him was it was amazing. So I know there were a lot of stand-up shows going on that week, a couple weeks or something. And that was the only one we got to go to, but I was thrilled that we got to go to that, and see them together. But who else? You saw a bunch of people.
Yeah, so Land of 10,000 Laughs was the event you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mid-October. Early October, I went to go see Nikki Glazer, who is the major Swiftie.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way I listened to her podcast, she's on the list.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I know Nikki from, her first show on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called? Like, Not Safe.
Yeah.
Because when I was living in LA, I made a pilot and one of the actresses was on that show who was in our pilot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, she passed away in 2019, which was like, how did she pass away? My God.
Right.
But because she was so young and she was like doing these like Oscar events, red carpet stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was great to see Nikki live at Mystic Lake, and she killed it. Um, Anya was there, her best friend, also another best
Oh,
friend that
cool.
she tours with.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nikki talked about on her podcast going to the Minneapolis Eras Tour concert
Yeah.
both nights.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, she's there for all of Taylor Swift's stuff.
I love it.
Major Swifty. And she's like keeping up on the whole Travis Kelsey thing, and
Oh, yeah.
as
Yes.
everyone seems to be.
I'm very much also in that boat. Yeah. Fully shipping that.
And what else? Oh yeah, she's like finding all the stuff that she's wearing just to be, like Taylor Swift. That's how big
Yeah.
of a fan she is. It's like
Of
she wants
course.
to be a Taylor Swift bestie.
Taylor is who inspired me to get bangs again.
Oh, I see. That's where that came from.
Yeah,
Okay.
after not only going to the show but then seeing it in theaters, I was like, she's 30. She's 2 years younger than, so she's 33. She's 33. Wait, how old am I? I don't even know. She's in her 30s and she has bangs, so I'm not too old for bangs.
Just
That
don't
was
get
why
the
I
curtain
stopped.
bangs. Yeah.
That's why I stopped doing it. And so I was like, fuck it. So I got him again. Because if T Swift can do it, I can do it. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that.
I mean, yeah. She's inspirational.
There you
I don't
go.
know what you want.
Yeah, we'll have to have a special episode. We'll talk about that in a moment here.
Oh, yeah.
About things like that. Anyways, Nikki Glazer, big Swifty.
Yes.
We'll have
And one of your favorites. You
yeah,
got to
yeah.
go, which was awesome.
And because she had a special already come out on Max again.
Yeah.
Another Max special. And then I was listening to, do you know Rick Glassman?
I don't know.
Okay. He's an actor, comedian. He has a podcast, two of them actually.
Wow.
Take Your Shoes Off and Rick and Esther Have a Time. Yeah. It's yeah, he's an interesting one. I like him. But yeah, he had Todd Barry on one of his episodes as I was like listening and watching it on YouTube.
Mhm.
They put up the dates for Todd Barry's tour, and he was like in town like that weekend when I was listening to it, and it was just like,
Wow.
oh, he's here. It's like those bands we talked about. It's like,
Yes.
what? They're here? What?
Yeah.
Like, how are people keeping up with like bring like I need to turn on notifications for things or something. But
But you got to go.
Yeah, I got to go. He was at the Women's Club of Minneapolis. It's like
Hell yeah.
it was.
Why not?
The venue was a setup for a joke. It was just such a great like bit. Just having the venue. It's like the Women's Club of Minneapolis. This is not like he doesn't choose to go to the Women's Club. It's just where he's booked or whatever. But yeah, so if anyone wants to book the Women's Club of Minneapolis, you can do comedy there apparently. So
So funny.
yeah. But yeah, that was great seeing him. I like his Netflix special, Spicy Honey. Ilana Glazer. Oh, this overlapped with Land of 10,000 Lakes or Laughs.
Yeah.
So Ilana Glazer was in town, and after I had already booked Ilana tickets, my favorite podcast, B and Ian with Jordan Jensen, Ian Fidance, are coming to Land of 10,000 Laughs after that. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to choose where to be on this weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like the perfect storm. So it was on a Thursday, and I have to start with Ilana because I already paid in advance for that.
Yep.
And then watch like most of her show, at least the first half. And then I have to cut loose from there and head over to B and Ian because I couldn't see Jordan because it was exactly at the same time as Ilana's set.
Yep.
And I was just like, God damn it. Why can't you? This is my grievance. Why can you just not space out the comedians just a little bit?
Yes. Just a little more.
Just a day, even. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like, I understand the festival for the comedy was different, but
Right.
it was just
So-
kind of like, did they not know Alana was in town? Or,
Right.
because she had a huge crowd. So,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
yeah. And that was at the State Theater for that, for Alana. And then Minneapolis Underground Comedy Club was where I went for the podcast, which I got to be on.
Which is so cool.
Yeah. And I won
You did a
trivia. Yeah. Won a free t-shirt. So they have like these t-shirts on their merch with like, someone did renderings of them as Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead and Wayne's World.
That's
and,
so good.
yeah, because they're into the 80s and 90s stuff. And
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
yeah, I relate to them a lot on that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just funny when when they get going, because they're very open about their bipolar and
Yep.
I think BPD also, so
hmm
borderline personality. So
Yep.
it's just like that's very interesting to see play out in a podcast, because it's very
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like combustible, could go off the rails at any moment, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And that makes it very interesting to me. And
Yeah.
I'm into that kind of humor.
It's really cool that I think it's awesome that they are so open about that and talk about it, because so is Taylor.
Mhm.
Taylor Thompson. Like, that's a huge staple of like her shows and her comedy and everything, is really just being open about mental health and
Right.
being bipolar and all that. So yeah, that's really cool.
And then before I met up with you, I had to miss. Well, I saw Ian Fidance that Friday,
Yeah.
but then I got called into a wedding on that Friday the 13th because, and then I had to miss Beth Stelling's set because I really wanted to see her. I could have switched it had they called earlier about it,
Right.
but I couldn't even do that because I was like, I really wanted to see her and or buy her merch,
Right.
you know, like because I'm like collecting T-shirts from all the comedians that come.
Exactly.
Because that's where you can buy their merch, is at their shows. They don't
Yes.
like devote websites to it. So,
Right.
yeah. And then after that wedding, I came back from Red Wing to come
Made
see
it?
you. Yeah, at
Yeah.
Kelsey and Chad's. And this wasn't really like a set. It was just like a talk almost, kind of like
Yeah.
open flow crowd work sort of thing.
But it was still so funny.
yeah.
So funny.
Which I was
Yeah.
actually grateful for, because I had already seen Kelsey's set, and it
Yeah,
was like,
that's
okay,
true.
this is something different. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy that like opens for her, I
Mhm.
don't remember his name, but he was hysterical.
Oh, yeah, he's good. I like
I
him.
was gonna follow him on Instagram and I forgot his name, but I'll have to look it up. But yeah, yeah, it was a really good show. But you're
Yeah.
not your October's not done yet.
It's not.
Not.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, that festival that happens once a year, Twin Cities something.
Something or other. Yeah.
It's always Twin Cities something around here. Twin Cities Film Festival. What do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go see. I saw two films. One was a locally made one, Edge of Insanity. I almost forgot it. Apparently, it took like 6 years to make or something. Like by the
Wow.
time, because Allie Daniels is in the film, and
Heck yeah.
I was like, she looks different in this. It's like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why it was filmed 6 years ago. So,
That's why it's called Edge of Insanity. Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
I would lose my mind too if I'm about to with Kyber Run. That might take
I mean,
6
see?
years. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said 2. I should have said a minimum of 2.
Yeah.
I think I did say that. Like minimum of 2 up to 13 years to make
Yeah.
this film.
There you
People
go.
will be married and have children or have dogs, you know.
Yeah. Someday you will receive this.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, and then I saw Downtown Owl that was made here.
How was that?
That was actually pretty good. I wasn't sure what to expect because, yeah, it's based on the book Downtown Owl,
Yep.
and yeah, Hamish Linklater showed up. We can talk about it now since the strike is over, but um, he was not announced to be there, so
Crazy.
for obvious reasons,
Right.
and then yeah, I got to see the film, and a lot of like local actors were in that film, as well as Made in St.
Yeah.
Paul,
Which is
set
so
in North Dakota.
great. Yeah.
I did ask him, did he there was these snow scenes, and I asked him like, did you need more snow or less snow for that scene?
Oh,
And he's
okay,
like,
yeah.
more snow. We need more snow. It's like,
I love
it
it.
was pretty funny, yeah. And apparently, when Ed Harris is in the snowstorm sort of thing, they were like just off camera, like flinging snow at him or something.
Oh,
like
funny.
and he's like, just give it to me. Like, like Ed Harris is he's much older now than when
Yeah.
we've seen him in other films, and it's just kind of like, okay, go for it. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
here it comes. Besides
I
the
love it.
giant fans or whatever they have.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, another film, because of the incentive previously that was
Yes.
installed prior to this year's,
Mm-hmm.
this film was able to be made here. So
Heck yes.
yeah. So yeah, it was nice to
Just-
hear him talk about that and acknowledge the Minnesota talent here. And
Yeah.
yeah, hope to see more from them. Hope to bring the
Exactly.
productions back. We'll set you up with even
Yes.
more money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. More money, more people,
there
all
you
the
go.
things. And then that just moved you right into November.
November.
You had more things.
Yeah, Twin Cities Con made a full weekend of that. They had Emmy Lowe I got to meet right away for day one. She's the voice actress to Lucy on Edge Runners Cyberpunk.
Okay.
So yeah, it's on Netflix. Huge fan of anything cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Also a game, so play the game.
hmm
Trish Stratus and Lita from WWE,
hmm
and Danny Trejo I got to meet. So
Which is so cool.
yeah, Machete.
Yeah. So cool.
He did say to write Robert Rodriguez, send him an email and say, when's the next Machete coming out? Because they've done 2. They haven't done Machete in Space yet. So, which they promised at the end of Machete Kills. So, come
Oh,
on,
shit.
Robert Rodriguez.
Come on, man. What are you doing?
Right. And I like how someone asked about Trejo's Donuts in LA, and I think maybe Texas too. But I was watching Bosch Legacy on Freevee,
hmm
and because I follow the whole Bosch series, and in the latest 2 seasons they have Trejo Donuts in there.
That's so
it's-
cool.
They make a point to show it too, so it's kind of like,
Nice.
oh, that's awesome. That worked out.
It is.
Now I want donuts. So,
I know that. Yes.
how about you? Your November?
My November was fun. I got to take a little mini trip to Florida. I was actually going to see Taylor Tomlinson again when she was
Ooh.
down there, which was cool because the show was going to be on her 30th birthday. She had just been announced as the host for the Late Late Show or whatever. But
Did she cancel?
she canceled. She
Oh
got
yeah,
sick.
she got. That's right.
All I can think is like, how much
Because
were
she
you
was
partying
shooting
for
the
your
special
30th?
too, right?
Yes. So it was really unfortunate. They had to reschedule for
Oh.
like March, which is crazy. It probably because the show's going to start. And so, yeah, but, so didn't get to see her again, which is fine. Got to relax, hang out, go to the beach, do the things. Hang out with my bestie. And then I got to see Adam Sandler live, which was really
What?
cool. Yeah, he was here. It was
When?
really neat. Such a different kind of show.
Does he
Uh,
incorporate the music and all
like
that too?
yeah, there was a lot of music.
Okay.
Yep. Um, there was like the jokes were in very specific formats. Some of them I was like, eh. Um, but as it kept going, it got funnier and funnier. I will say that he had some of like he had Rob Schneider as an opener who I can't stand. Mostly because of his politics these days. And he's so outward about it. Like he gets up there. He wasn't funny, and he kept talking about certain things like that. Like, hey, well, during the scandemic, blah blah blah. It's like,
Oh,
dude, like, do comedy or get off the stage. What are you doing? Like, don't be
right,
a jackass.
right.
Um, and then Sarah, I don't even know her last name from SNL. She's got the funky mullet haircut.
Hmm.
Uh, she's my least favorite person that has ever been on SNL. I don't find her funny at all.
Hmm.
And she was there, and she's even less funny not on SNL. It was I was sitting there, I was like, why are you here? Like this is blatantly unfunny.
Girls
It
gotta
was
eat. No.
I mean, fucking apparently. I don't know. So it was very much not, she's not my jam.
Yeah.
So there was that. Got to see it, but Adam Sandler was awesome. And Kevin James was there, and they had
Oh.
like a little bit where he's in the audience and Adam's like, wait, hey, what are you doing here, buddy? Like you could have come backstage. And he was like, no, I just wanted to come and see you. I miss you. It was really
Hmm.
funny. They sang a song together. It was good stuff. What they sang? Endless Love, I think, with each other. So that was
Yeah.
cool. But so I got to
Okay.
see that. And then the day before that, we went to see the How Did This Get Made podcast live,
Mm.
which has June Diane Raphael, who I love, and her husband, Paul. I can't remember his last name now. Oh my God. I can't remember anything. My whole brain just went completely shut. Anyway, he's on the show, The League, which I really like. I mean, it's over now, but like it's one that we watch every year for fantasy football season. And then another person who was on that show, Jason Mantzoukas, who is also hilarious. He's on it. So those three
I
do
just
it.
saw him
and-
on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
yeah, he's in that. He's so funny. And he's like exactly the same. He's just like crazy, which is great.
Yeah.
But they have a podcast called How Did This Get Made, where they review movies and talk about like, they literally dissect them and say like, how in the hell, like like just make fun of them and all this kind of stuff. And it's really funny. And so we got to go to that. We watched the movie ahead of time. It's Beauty and the Beast Christmas. Don't watch it. Horrible movie. You have to pay $2 to watch it for whatever reason. And there's literally every single thing about it is terrible. So it made for a hilarious show. But yeah, we got to go to that, which was that was a dream. That was really, really cool. So
Yeah, I've listened to that podcast. How did this get made? I listened to like the Fast and Furious ones.
yes, with Adam Scott or Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
It's
Adam
usually
Scott.
one of those two.
Yeah.
God, yeah. It's funny. We were just listening to, we'll like pick random episodes. We just listened to the Space Jam one where they reviewed the first Space Jam, and they're all older than us. And so they were like, when did you see this for the first time? And all three of them were like, just this morning for this show. Like they had never seen it before. And they were like, we hate to tell you 90s babies, but this movie is terrible. And it's like, no, it's not. And so it made it even more fun.
People in Looney
yeah.
Tunes, damn it.
Exactly. And then they were talking about like it's just so fun. So yeah. It's really cool. So that was a blast getting to go to.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that. And then lastly, like, at the Twin Cities Con, they did have like a stand-up night also. So
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah.
Super, super cool.
So I went to that before going to the burlesque show that night. So
Yeah, how was that?
that was a lot of fun. Just like two local comedians who did stand up. So
Was it Rudy?
no.
Rudy does stand up now.
Right. He's
Yeah.
a House of Comedy
But-
guy, kind of,
Yeah.
which is good. I have to go there sometime.
I don't know. Gotta go support a guy.
Yeah, and then there's like the Nerdlesque show it's called. We got to see them afterwards. They're based in DC. Oh, and I got to see my friend and I snuck into one of the hotels, and
Snuck in.
well, the doors don't just open for you at night. You have to have them opened somehow. And then, because we're going there to meet people from the, show. And then
Right.
I got to get a picture with Dante Bosco. Rufio, you might know him as from Hook.
Rufio. Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Rufio. Oh. Yes. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Bangarang.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Now I just want to watch that.
Yeah.
Watch Hook.
And and that they had like a lot of voice actors also, by the way. Just real quick recap on Twin Cities Con.
Oh, yeah.
So voice actors mainly, but it was really funny because they had like people from Animaniacs and stuff like that were voiceover actors and from other anime and video games, and some really fun like voiceover like scenarios. So that was a fun.
Yeah.
That was a good idea on them if they couldn't have like because that was part of the After Dark series.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad they actually had that. They didn't have that previous years apparently, so hopefully that comes back in the future. So
No kidding. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
so
Yeah.
we talked about live podcasts, so hopefully in the future for this podcast,
We want to.
yeah. So if you're interested in having a live show with us at your event, let us know. Just if it is
Let
travel,
us
we
know.
can talk about that. So
Yeah.
we can discuss.
We are interested.
Yeah. And we're going to be looking at starting a Patreon this year.
Which is really exciting. I didn't even know what a Patreon was. Alan had to tell me.
Yeah.
He had to educate me. It was really funny. He's like, let's do Patreon. I was like, what is that? Why do I want to work out? Like, nope, not a Peloton. Patreon. It's this. But yeah, so we're gonna do it, everybody. It's gonna be great. We're just developing all sorts of fun things, figuring out fun things to include. So
Yeah. So if
make
you
it worth everybody's while.
like what you have here and you want to support, we'll get that going here in the new year, hopefully. In the near future,
Yeah.
we'll of course announce that through the socials and everything. And
Yes.
you can look at possibly doing merch. What do you think, Rahana?
Yeah, I want to have merch. Honestly, I want to have merch because I want to have merch. And so, I mean, I figure why just make one.
I'm the same way. It's just like, this is just for me. This is not for you.
Right? Exactly. I'm like, okay, so what do I want? And so we should just make more of it for other people too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to come out with some merch, probably start smaller a little bit, see, what people are into, but like if something interests you, if you're like, man, I would totally get a koozie versus like, man, I would totally get a shirt or a coffee mug or I don't know, fucking pencil. I don't know what everybody uses and wants. We got writers on here, although you have computers. We're not gonna have a Film in Minnesota computer. Sorry, guys. But yeah, if there's something you're like, I would totally support and like having blank, just let us know. Because what we get, we want to make sure that it's not just for us. I mean, we're definitely going to have some, but it's not just for us. So we want to make sure that we're, being inclusive to what everybody would like.
But if we're going down with the ship, it's going to be for us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like there will be a koozie, even just one, because I want
just a Rahana koozie, you mean? Like something like that?
Exactly. Yes. Like we'll have, Film in Minnesota koozie, and on one side it's just going to be my face going, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be like me singing
yes.
as I walking around doing nothing. I don't know how you put that in a picture form, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
And ideas for like what the Patreon is beyond just like our film category. So, what?
I mean, obviously, I feel like our list of everything that happened this year is a good example. Mm-hmm. Like we're into a ton of things, like not, entertainment across the board, comedy. We love comedy, sports. There's just so much that is going on that we would talk about. So that wouldn't be solely focused on film the way that the foundation of the podcast is.
Right. Yeah, because we're primarily grounded in guests. However, we're looking to expand beyond that and include so many things. I mean, even our like Oscar predictions one, that's definitely feels like a Patreon episode.
Yeah. Yep.
But so and then all the Rahana reviews. Video. Yeah.
Yep. So that way, I promise to wash my hair on the days that we do that. So it won't scare people away. But it'll be fun. We're gonna have a bunch of new things coming out this year.
Yeah, and if we end up going more all video, even for these types of get-togethers, and for YouTube, the regular episodes. So and
maybe some watch parties.
Yes, watch parties. If you want to let us know, once we get the Patreon going, we'll listen to our patrons that way. So
yeah. I mean, that's another thing Alan had to school me up on, because I had no idea. He's like, let's do a watch party. I was like, I watch stuff all the time. Why do I have to have a party while I do it? That's distracting. Right. Like, that's not what it is.
I'm not even 100% sure how to do it, but like it sounded like Jackson or Jack may have some ideas. So we'll have to talk to our cohorts. Yep.
Exactly. We'll get there.
Yeah, look for more content hopefully later this year. That's the plan.
Yeah. We're gonna have stuff trickling out like nobody's business. It's gonna be we're really, really excited about it.
Yeah. And then let us know, what type of merch would you be interested in? Is it just a shirt? Is it just, whatever. Or if you have fun caricatures of us as Ren and Stimpy.
Right? Oh, funny. Yes. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even on the Patreon, like what stuff interests you? Like what topics, or what would what would be entertaining for you to hear or watch?
Well, for me, I think it has to be grounded in us. And I think a lot of what we talk about is very comedic in presence. Yeah. So, and a little more, we can dive a little deeper into things, I think. So, yeah.
I can have a video of me just letting the Jessica Day of it all happen. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
You guys can listen to me sing while I'm dusting. I don't fucking know. Like whatever it is that I do when I'm doing that. I guess I don't really know. But yeah.
Yeah. So
that was random.
Show. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So this is a lot, but honestly, it's been a long year, man.
Oh God, yes.
And I feel like we have so much that we're actually looking forward to, like kind of expanding to this next year. And so there's just so much to be excited about, and so much to really fall back and like review and look on. So it's been an awesome year, and we wouldn't still be here if it weren't for people listening. So thank you to all of our listeners that are out there, even if, whether it's your first listen, if this is your first listen, this is not how most of the episodes go.
Yeah, if you've listened this long, hello.
Yeah, then
congratulations,
thank you. Especially
you're a true one.
Yeah, you're a VIP, you're a VIP. Yeah, and then to all of our guests that we've had this year, over in the previous 6 years.
Well, like 6 seasons. Okay, 5 years, sixth season. Yeah, we started.
It's a lot of guests though, and we've only had a couple people on multiple times, so it's that's what we're here for. So without the guests and the listeners, it's just me and Alan talking to ourselves. Which, don't get me wrong, we would do anyway, but this is more fun.
And we are going to do anyways on the Patreon, so take that.
That's true. That's true. We're still going to sneak it in. Yeah. But, so thank you so much. We hope everybody had a great year, and is kicking off the new year with some hopes, goals, exciting things to come. And we will see you on the next one. This is Dublin, Minnesota.